who approaches Jesus. We get an understanding into his life, into his daily existence, and he's a man with an impure spirit, and we'll find out soon that it wasn't just one impure spirit, but many. He lived among the tombs, so you literally have someone living among the dead, in the cemetery or in the tombs. He's often been chained hand and foot, but he's too strong, and he breaks the chains. So you wonder, are there wounds? Is he bleeding from breaking the chains? And people have tried to subdue him, but he's too strong. And night and day, you imagine looking out on these hills around Santa Clarita, night and day, this man is screaming from the hills. Now, I don't know if those were words that he was screaming or just noises, but you find someone screaming in the hills and you walk the other way or you run the other way. This is this man's existence. And in the midst of screaming from the hills night and day, he's also picking up stones and cutting himself. This is the man who walks towards Jesus when he arrives on shore. And I read this story with my children this week. I like to get my children's perspective on a story that I've often read over and over and over again. And I asked them, if you walked up to this man or if this man walked up to you, how would you be feeling? One of my kids said, I'd feel scared. He might go crazy at any moment. Another child said, I'd feel sad because he has lots of cuts and is probably bleeding a lot. The other one said, I'd feel mad because the demons are inside him and I'd want to take him out and beat him up. And so then I said, well, what would you do if this man was outside our front door? And my kids said, I'd give him a blanket. One of them said, I'd let him use our shower to wash off the blood because I took a shower to wash off my blood when I fell off my bike. The other one said, I'd let him stay with us. Now, there's a whole conversation about stranger danger. But if you look past that and you look at the heart of a child, it's the heart of God. A mixed bag of emotions as this man is approaching. I'd feel all of those things, scared, sad, mad. Why does this man have to be in this condition? And just the other day, we were driving through Newhall on Main Street, and there was a woman, it was broad daylight, there was a woman who was in the middle of the street chasing an empty water bottle. She picked it up and put it in a bag and then threw something else into the street. And as she's doing that, she's saying something. She might have been shouting. My windows were up, so I couldn't hear her. But I was nervous to approach. I was nervous to drive by. I didn't know if she was going to run out into the street again. I didn't know what she was going to do. But I felt all of these things as I watched her, scared, sad, mad. So this is the man who approaches Jesus. Let's see how he reacts to this man. Mark 5, verse 6. When he saw Jesus from a distance, he ran and fell on his knees in front of him. He shouted at the top of his voice, "What do you want with me, Jesus, Son of the Most High God? In God's name, don't torment me." For Jesus said to him, "Come out of this man, you impure spirit." Then Jesus asked him, "What is your name?" "My name is Legion," he replied, "for we are many." And he begged Jesus again and again not to send him out of the area. A large herd of pigs were feeding on the nearby hillside. The demons begged Jesus, "Send us among the pigs, allow us to go into them." He gave them permission. And the impure spirits came out and went into the pigs. The herd, about 2,000 in number, rushed down the steep bank into the lake and were drowned. Those tending the pigs ran off and reported this in the town and the countryside, and the people went out to see what had happened. When they came to Jesus, they saw the man who had been possessed by the legion of demons sitting there, dressed and in his right mind, and they were afraid. Those who had seen it told the people what had happened to the demon-possessed man and about the pigs as well. Then the people began to plead with Jesus to leave their region. As Jesus was getting into the boat, the man who had been demon-possessed begged to go with him. Jesus did not let him, but said, "Go home to your own people and tell them how much the Lord has done for you and how he has had mercy on you." So the man went away and began to tell in the Decapolis, which means 10 cities. I just imagine a huge metropolitan area, or huge for that time. And he began to tell in the Decapolis how much Jesus had done for him. And all the people were amazed. So you have this man who's living among the tombs. He's screaming from the hilltops night and day. He's cutting himself. I mean, he is a wreck. He's as good as dead. He's probably feeling very alone. He's probably feeling defeated and hopeless. Probably thinking, this will be the end of me. This condition that I'm in, this state I'm in, if he even has a coherent thought, he's probably thinking, this is going to be how my life ends, in this state. But then Jesus stepped onto the scene. And everything changed for this man. You know, Jesus, he doesn't run away from this man. He remains with him. Jesus is not scared of this man. He doesn't look at this man as a hopeless cause, like he's too far gone or he's not worth Jesus' time. In fact, Jesus traveled across a lake and went through a storm to talk to one person. Did you catch that? At the beginning, he arrives on shore. He has this interaction with this man, totally transforms his life. The people ask him to leave, and he gets back in his boat. All for one man. What should this tell us about what God thinks about you and me? How he feels about you and me? It should tell us that you are important to God. Maybe you are here today because God invited you here through a coworker or through a neighbor or a friend or a family member. Maybe you were at a park or at a store or sitting in a cubicle next to somebody and God invited you here. God met you where you were at to show you that you are worth his time, that you are important to him. And when you are at your worst, he visits you in order to give you new life. You know, there are two different types of responses in this story to the presence of Jesus. You have the group who comes out to see what happened to this demon-possessed man. Maybe it was the man who they helped try to chain up at times. Maybe they knew him well. But you have this group who comes out and they see what has happened. They see this man who has always been among the hills and living this hopeless existence. And they see him in his right mind, clothed, sitting there, and they're